Hey there, you beautiful souls. Welcome to the Authentic You podcast, where we dive deep into the power of authenticity and the journey to rediscovering your true self. I'm your host, Kristina Holle, and I'm beyond excited to embark on this transformative journey with you. Ever wonder how authenticity impacts relationship, career choices, and overall well-being? Well, wonder no more, because the Authentic You is your compass on this incredible adventure. So what can you expect from our show? Well, picture this: heart-to-heart conversation, inspiring stories, expert insights on the importance of authenticity. We're going to tackle the masks we wear, the societal expectations we navigate, and guide you back to the essence of who you truly are. The Authentic You podcast, where real stories meet real talk. Get ready to shine your light and live authentically. So now we've got 279 people here and we haven't even started. I just want to say I'm really looking forward to this conversation today. We are going to talk about the power of emotions and learning how to listen to the message within. So I'll ask you this. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by your emotions? Maybe frustrated, sadness, or fear takes over, and you just want to push them all away. We want to shut them down. We want to bypass them. They're just like they're inconvenient. So we often treat the emotions as though they're interruptions, something that we're supposed to suppress or ignore or just get over. How many times have we heard that? Get over it. It's not that important. And we dismiss it. But what if I told you that these emotions are messengers and they are guiding you to something much deeper? Now, we have to learn not to be uncomfortable with that space. We might have to teach ourselves to show up a little bit differently, learning how to sit with the emotion, because emotions are not the enemy. They're actually the guide. Emotions are not random. I'm going to repeat that. They're not random. They are there for a reason. They're signals from your inner world communicating that there's something important to pay attention to. And if we learn to listen instead of resist them, they are the most powerful insight that you can have. It changes the dynamic completely. And when we know that, all of a sudden we're on a different path. All of a sudden we've opened a door differently. So tell me if this sounds familiar. Fear. Have you experienced fear? So fear is not there to paralyze you. It's actually nudging you towards growth when we're scared. When we're scared, it's good. It actually means that we're starting to grow. So the questions that should be coming up at that time is, where am I playing small? I'm scared. Why am I scared? Am I playing small? Is there something that I deeply desire that I'm scared to jump out and do? That's what fear is telling you. Fear is not saying run the other direction and saying to paralyze yourself and say, no, that's not good enough for me. It should prompt you to be like, am I playing small? Is there something more here? I want you to think about that. What about anger? Anger is not just a reaction. People dismiss anger all the time. I've had moments where I've been so angry and I didn't realize it was because I had so much blocked emotions over the years of times where I suppressed how I really felt about things. But when an anger emotion kicks in, it's about boundaries. Something has been crossed. Think of it as a boundary detector. And I would be asking myself, do I need a boundary here? Did someone overstep my boundary? Did I communicate that I felt as though a boundary had been overstepped? Or am I just like stuffing that emotion? Anger is telling you when you need to speak up, or the situation might be completely misaligned to your values. Anger is a good thing. We have to honor anger, but we don't suppress it. Just allow it to happen. Maybe you put the boundary in place. Maybe you speak up and you use your voice. But it is literally telling you something's not aligned here. This does not feel right. But if we're blocking it and we're always trying to be the nice girl or trying to show up in a way that's pleasant all the time, you could be missing out on boundaries. Why do you think we guys, we talk about boundary issues because people don't know how to put them in place. But think about it. If we are not tapped into anger when it kicks in and we dismiss it. What did you just say? Oh, it's okay to cross my boundary or treat me like dirt. And I didn't say anything in this moment. And it doesn't have to be a volcano, anger. It can be an expression of your words. And when you get really savvy at it, you can say what you need to say and set a very healthy boundary. But we have to thank anger, because anger is what said, bing, we got to put something in place here. There's something we need to talk about. Now let's shift into sadness. Have we ever felt sadness? Many of us have, but that's a sign that something meaningful has changed. Think about what we talked with Jess today. Something meaningful is changing for her. That's why she's feeling sadness. But I want to tell you, sadness is such a beautiful emotion. It shows you that you've loved something so intensely. Something meaningful is moving. So it's not a weakness. It is a signal of depth and love. And maybe it's a space for, hey, I got to explore this. I need some healing here. But maybe not. Maybe it's just like, oh, I love that. But as we were saying before, everything has to come to an end. There's always a cycle of rebirth and death. Look in nature. It happens all the time. Look at our seasons. There is a set cycle for every single one of us. And when we understand that, we can honor how we're feeling. We can understand that this is a part of the process. And it's really awesome when you start to get it. When you start to get it, it's like, oh, it's okay to be sad. I don't have to be strong for everyone else. It's okay to be in this moment. And when we understand that, it changes the dynamic. And the way I look at emotions, it's almost like a wave. It waves in, like a wave comes into the beach, it slowly eases in, it feels like a big crash, and then it mellows out. That's like an emotion. But if you tried to stop a wave, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to splash all over you. It's just not going to be a good scene. You might even get pulled into an undertow of emotion. But what if we get clever and we just, hey, we understand waves come and they go, but I have to allow this feeling to pass so I can really see what is unfolding before my eyes. So let's shift into joy. When we feel joy, it is our inner compass saying, more, please. Give me more. I love this play. Give me more. It is a confirmation that you are directly aligned with your purpose and truth. So what does that say to me? Do more of it, whatever it is. If it's dancing in the street, if it's painting, if it's singing, if it's hanging out with girlfriends or friends, if it's going out for a drink at a bar with a friend. I'm not encouraging drinking by any means. I'm just saying it's the things that make you happy. But that is what the emotion is telling you. It's telling you things. And I think that that is truly amazing. I have a guest in queue. Thank you for waiting for me to get through that part. And then I'm going to talk to you about when emotions are blocked, how to recognize them. But let's bring up Carolyn first and see what she has to say.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good. It's really interesting.
Tell me.
Tiffany, that me and a couple of my girlfriends this year, we hit 2025 and we're all about 2025 is the year of boundaries.
Oh, very nice.
Healthy boundaries. We're all in the 50 plus range, but setting reasonable boundaries with, I think it's family. Honestly, it seems odd, but letting them know we're not that old. We're still capable of making reasonable decisions. We can do these things. We can accomplish things, and we don't need to be diminished. Or it's hard to put in words. It is.
I would say you just said something that's really important that I think it's going to resonate with others. Boundaries with our family is usually top of the line, because sometimes we have family members that feel that they can tell you who you are, what you're supposed to be, how you're supposed to be angry or how you're supposed to feel. But when we learn boundaries, you can put them, in my book, I talk about different types of boundaries, but you can be very respectful with boundaries and sensitive a little bit with family if you have to be. But a boundary is about you and not deprioritizing your needs. It's you being like, no, I'm not okay with that. And
that is exactly it. Whether it's family gatherings, and for me, Easter's coming up, and I know my family, and they're going to have all the food and all the ta-da.
Yep.
And so I've come across a couple of new recipes, and I know they're low fat, low calorie. Everybody's going to be super skeptical, and they're like, but you know what? I'm still going to do it because I'm not the only member of the family that is struggling with weight management, heart issues, whatever it may be. So I'm going to take grief. I know that right out of the gate. I accept that. But I am still going to bring in my new recipes. And I'm going to throw them to the dogs per se. And I may end up on the low end of the stick, but I made an attempt. Well, I did my best. And that's all we can do.
It's bigger than that. It's not about food with the food pushers and all that. It's not about that. It's about you making a commitment to yourself. You are working hard to make better choices. So when the food pushers, I call them food pushers, when they come into play, they seem to be very opinionated about what you're eating and what you're supposed to do. But you are honoring the choices that you're making. And I love that you're bringing your own dish in order to take it or leave it. But this is about you making a commitment to you.
And I do understand. A lot of us, whether we're coming right out of Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and we're going straight into Easter and then 4th of July, we are constantly faced with these food battles. And I'm really so sad that it's got to be a food battle. That is so disappointing. And I'm sure a lot of other people out there are a lot like my family, bring a dish to pass. And there is a lot of judgment that goes along with, so
what's in it? I'm assuming that that's what you're saying. I think that you make a really good point about that family dynamic and food. It's a perfect example about boundaries. Remember this, you could be the leader in modeling better behavior about eating and doing things. Rome wasn't built in a day. All you can do is control what you can contribute and how you show up. And I think when you understand that those boundaries, you're starting with food around boundaries with family, but you might be surprised. You might become very well versed in putting boundaries in. Because what happens when we put boundaries in is that we maintain our own energy. We don't feel depleted. We're not pretending to be something that we're not. We're actually showing up as our best possible self. And your emotions are not blocked anymore because you're being honest with yourself. Thank you so much, Carolyn. I appreciate the share. I'm going to bring Wendy up, and then I'm going to go into what happens when emotions are blocked. Let's see what Wendy has to say. Hi, Wendy. How are you?
I'm good. When I was listening to Carolyn, I had to laugh because she's so far ahead of where I was at her age. It was one of those things. Wow, you're ahead of the game and you are on the right path. I came from a Southern household and we had so much food at holidays, and I was a vegetarian. And you could have 5 pounds of food on your plate, but if you didn't have a piece of meat, my mother would say, "You don't have anything."
Thanks, Mom. Are you not looking? Yeah.
Exactly. And that you said that's just the beginning, because there are so many things boundaries that you have to set for your own children, for your well-being, for your partner, everything. You have to have your autonomy in relationships dealing with family. It's tough, but being that groundbreaker especially is tough, but it's well worth it.
Well, it really is, because that's when you liberate yourself to live your life, and you realize that some people aren't going to like it, but it really doesn't matter if they don't like it. That's their thing. That's not your thing.
And that's hard. Because I was very young when my husband and I got married, and very intimidated by, I married into a Cuban family that they had their traditions were pretty strong and whatnot. And you saw that huge pig in the bathtub going, oh my God. But not just that, there was a lot of things, religion wise, just a lot of things that they didn't quite jive with me. But it's funny because we've been married 1,000 years, but now 30, he's some odd, almost 40. But the fact that you have your different ways of doing things, and once you stop trying to live up to other people's expectations and conforming yourself to other people, it doesn't make everybody happy, but you have to be true to yourself. And that's when you start to be happy and say, this is me.
And it's funny because when I work with clients, they just want peace of mind. They want to know how to find peace of mind in their life. And I'm just like, we forget how valued it is to have peace in your life, where you're not constantly trying to navigate other people's stuff. And when you understand, hey, there's some tips and tricks that you can do that, but you got to stop deprioritizing yourself and saying yes to yourself before you're dealing with all the other chaos.
You do, because I had small children and chronic panic attacks being in holiday situations and stuff, until I realized that, you know what? No, it's okay. Guess what? If I'm not comfortable, I'm going to step out. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and that's me. And that's okay. And so if you're thinking about that at 25, God bless you. You're way.
No, I think she was saying that she's in her 50s. She's like,
oh, I'm so sorry.
Well, hey, Caroline, well, she'll take that she's 25. If you throw that out there.
I'm still way past you, but it's all good. It takes a long time, because you really want to make everybody happy. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't all jive with yourself, it shows itself in panic attacks and all that weird stuff. So it all has to mesh together, and be happy with yourself, because we know good.
Well, and panic attacks is definitely a huge sign that there's emotions that are not being dealt with. So
yep, for sure.
We don't like those.
And holidays are the worst for those. So
I would totally agree. I think when we realize that the pressure that's on at holidays, just throw that out the window. Just be true to yourself. Thank you, Wendy. I think that that's a perfect example. I think that I've seen many of us, we have to teach ourselves that it's okay to listen to our emotions and listen to what they're telling us. And if we need to put a boundary in, what are you waiting for? What is the big fear of putting a boundary in? Well, I think that, so I think everybody, there's a threshold, right? There's a point in our life where we say, I don't know, this isn't really working for me. It's not working for me. So I might as well put myself out there. But it takes courage to do that. I have a big thing on my wall that says courage above fear all the time. And that forces me to make these decisions. And I'll tell you, 99% of the time, no one even cares. It's a you game. And if you can drop that, you're going to live a very different life. There is younger people, like I do mother-daughter retreats and whatever. We're trying to teach them now to not get caught up in all the foolery in our mind, rather than getting into, think about it, you're in your 50s and now you're starting to unpack that. Can you imagine if you had that insight in your 20s, what you would have done? And it's awesome. I'm so proud of you that you're doing it now and you're sharing it with others, because it resonates with other people. That's the magic of this space, is we share to be like, you know what? I am going to bring my own food, and I am going to set a boundary here, and because I deserve it. And I promise you, it's like this beautiful flower that starts to bloom because you're only feeding yourself the good stuff rather than getting caught up in other people's issues. Thank you so much, Carolyn. So today we're talking about emotions, and we're talking about the fact that emotions are not the enemy. They are the guide. They will help us to lean into our truth and to make different changes. But what happens when our emotions are blocked and we follow the narratives, oh, time heals all wounds, or suck it up, buttercup? I used to hear that all the time. There would be major things that would go on. And I always felt as though if I show that I'm upset, then I won't get love because that wasn't recognized. It would be like, oh, you're too emotional and you've got, no, stop your crying. But the toughness always seemed to get recognized, which really was just bypassing emotions. And what happens is that emotions get blocked. So if you think that, hey, time heals all wounds, or that you put stuff aside and it won't catch up with you, it always catches up with you. I work with people all the time and we're like, oh, we're working with your inner child when this happened. And when we start to unlock that stuff, it's so freeing and so liberating. But the point is, we have to understand, hey, maybe I do have blocked emotions. So when we suppress emotions, instead of feeling them, we pretend that they're not there and we think that they're going to disappear. And the reality is that our mind, body, and soul, we store them. And they manifest in different ways. They can manifest where you get really sick. They can manifest where you're not managing your emotions well. But I'll use some examples here and see if they resonate for you. If you have blocked fear, what it can manifest as is that you procrastinate, you have self-doubt, you get stuck in comfort zones instead of taking the leap. So that means that somewhere you blocked fear on your path. So I want you to think about, well, do I like those things? Do I like that I procrastinate? Or do I like that I get caught up in anxiety and self-doubt? Or do I want to live small? And I guarantee someone is listening to this and going, no, Kristina, that's obvious. Of course I don't want those things. Well, then we need to start looking at where we blocked the fear. Why did we stop taking risk in our life? Why did we stop doing things in our life? How about this one? And I am a poster girl for blocked anger. And I didn't realize that I had so much blocked anger. But blocked anger can manifest into resentment, or that maybe you're passive aggressive. You might even have physical headaches and tightness in the shoulder. Maybe you're explosive. You get triggered very easily. That's because there's blocked anger in there somewhere. But when we learn to release it, I've taken clients to rage rooms. I don't know if you guys know what they are, or if you have them in the US, but we have some around me here. It is the best thing because you're releasing anger. Anger needs to be released. If not, it manifests into these really horrible behaviors that you're probably not going to like in your life. Or blocked sadness manifests as emotional numbness or disconnection or even burnout. Have you ever been, I always know when people have, and I just know this from personal experience, when people have tapped out, when you start hearing words, I'm fine, whatever, it doesn't matter, you shut down. You literally have an emotional shutdown. That's because there's blocked sadness in there. And trust me, there's so many cool ways to be able to remove this stuff so you can really emerge in life. You can experience life. Like, life should be full of color. It should not just be black and white. This is how we start. The way I look at it, emotions is the color, the paints, and everything that you're adding to the canvas. Block joy. If you want to block joy, or you've had blocked joy, you have self-sabotaged. You feel guilty for feeling happy. You have the inability to receive great things in your life. Have you good things happen? You're like, oh, not for me. It's not a big deal, whatever. No, that's a blocked joy piece. So when we understand that, that can actually hold you back. I don't think you want that for yourself. I want you to pause and ask yourself, do I have any of these blocked emotions? And I actually have this, and then I will bring Cicely up. I have it in my book. I literally am pulling my book out. I haven't done this on any of my shows, but I want you to think about this. If you have bitterness, this shows you that you need to heal where you are still holding judgments against yourself or others. If you have resentment, it shows you where you are living in the past and not allowing the present to be. If you are holding anger, this shows what you were passionate about, but again, the boundaries have not been set around what you think needs to change in the world. If you have disappointment, it shows you that you tried for something and that you did not give in and you still care, that you didn't lean into apathy, but you still care. If you're disappointed, that's actually not a bad thing. It means that you still care for whatever it may be. And then guilt shows you that you're still living life based on other people's expectations of what you should do. I share those because these are blocked emotions. And if you don't realize that you're still holding on to them, you could be stuck in this web that is not allowing you to set yourself free and do the things that you were meant to do. I'm going to bring Cicely up now. I just needed to get that out for you guys. Cicely.
Oh, Kristen, there is something I've been looking at myself for that I think is really weird. My blocked anger blocks me from actually going towards things that would be good for me. And the aftermath of other people's guilt has given me this weird thing about not wanting to get too far ahead. Because if I get too far ahead, I'm going to get knocked down one more time. And anger was one of those emotions where it was like, you don't have a right to be angry about anything.
Right.
Life. And I would adopt that. And then the feelings would just come up like a daggone volcano. And I'm wondering why I'm truly and wholeheartedly upset out of nowhere. And they're like, what's the matter? And I'm like, I am feeling an emotion that has been blocked for a long time. And I had a problem with practicing it. And now I'm getting to a point where I'm like, you know what? I'm allowed I want to feel as long as I don't take it out on anybody else. So
give them an example of how you release some emotion.
I start singing. I start journaling.
Love it.
I try to walk around. I start circling around like a random animal. I'll go do something that brings me joy. For today, I went to get my hair done. And I normally get the same thing all the time. I get my hair blow dried, pressed out. And today I did a inner child thing. I let my inner child come out and play because there was a hairstyle that I wasn't old enough to get as a youngster that I thought was so pretty. And I was like, I have adult money. I can get this hairstyle. And now I'm living my 90s hoochie fantasy with my dark lip liner and my French roll with the fresh curls in the front because I'm an adult. I was like, wait a minute. I can stop limiting myself based on other people's expectations and judgments. I can just enjoy life. I don't have to worry about, because one of the things I would get stuck with was the crab in the barrel mentality, where if I got too far up, you must think you too good, and really shrink myself down because I didn't think I was too good. I just liked what I liked. Oh, you think you're better than somebody. And I'm like, no. And I'm getting to a point now that anger that I felt was because it wasn't me. It was more of, oh, you think I'm better than you. That's why you act like that. That's not me.
Right? When we understand that, what a game changer. When it's like, hey, that has nothing to do with me. You take that. That's not my bag. I'm not holding that bag. That's yours.
It took me to be almost 32 to get it. I was like, oh. And I'm starting to just look at stuff. Hold on. It is okay for me to feel the way that I want to feel. But what can we do to shift this energy? Because I was in the store today and I was looking at art supplies. They didn't have any good sales in there yet. They were like going out of business. And I was like, these are regular prices.
Right.
But my rage comes out in painting.
Oh, me too.
It's all of the bloodshed that I feel internally on canvas. And it just depends on what form of rage. If there's resentment, I use charcoal because everything's burned up.
Right.
And I allow that to flow onto paper. But I'm
Mm.
getting to a point where I'm thinking about going back to painting. It might go back really well with managing emotion because I was taught that you're supposed to manage the way you're supposed to manage your emotion is by blocking them.
Me too.
But there's so much more to it.
Honestly, you can come back in queue. I hate to do this. I just have two other people. I've got Lois and I've got A, and then I want you to finish what you're saying. I think that there's a piece here around when we understand it's so rich, the space of your emotions and what it can do. Magical. It really is magical. Why have we deprived ourselves for so long? Lois, how's it going?
Girl, we've deprived ourselves for so long because we were programmed to.
I know.
It's not our fault. Honestly, it's not our fault. But now that we've become aware that this program exists, if we don't take steps to change it by formulating some affirmations, I allow myself to get angry. I allow myself to feel and express my emotions in a way that is healthy for me and others around me. You got to allow yourself to do this, and you got to be able to tell yourself it's okay. I know. I was told, somebody said, Lois, it was about the food thing because I was listening to y'all. When I had to start going gluten free, everybody was getting mad at me because I would go to their house and they know I love cooking and they like to show off when they cook. But I could no longer go and eat the food they cooked because they wouldn't listen to me say, I have this thing where I can't eat gluten. I cannot, and I can't eat garlic. But yet they would make things that were garlic and gluten and then get offended if I didn't eat it. And at first it bothered me. And then finally I just said, you know what? I'll take my food with me everywhere I go. Even when I went to France, I took food with me just in case I couldn't find none. And after a while, even going to restaurants was hard telling them, I want this, but it can't have this, it can't have that. First, the resistance and the pushback was so bad because I was afraid they were going to judge me. Because I was afraid they were going to. And I started saying, this is what I have to have. And it doesn't matter whether they judge me or not. They stopped judging me.
Right.
And it was so funny because one instance, I was with my motorcycle group that would ride and we had a barbecue. And when I came, of course, I brought something for them to put on the grill for them. It was gluten free, but it was good. Bringing some hot links, put on the grill for them. But I also brought my own food that I eat for myself. And I wanted to grill mine separately because I had to put foil down. And I got seasonings in here, and I said, I can't use any of that. Oh, you think you're too good? And I was like, this ain't got nothing to do with you. I'm telling you, I have allergies. And I said, you don't want to have to call the ambulance because you forced me to eat your food. And plus, you can't force me to eat your food. But it was the whole idea that I had to stand for me, even if nobody else agreed with me. Right. And I had to go against the grain. And at first they ruffled feathers, but then when people started eating the food that I cooked, they were like, oh my God, this is gluten-free food? What are you talking about? This tastes regular. And then because it's gluten-free and I changed ingredients, it's all the same good food that everybody used to eat for holidays and the desserts and stuff, except I use different ingredients. I still get the same taste. Just different ingredients, but the whole thing is that honoring your emotions because they're supposed to be like waves in the ocean. They're supposed to come up and down while you find your equilibrium. But most of the time when we block them or trap them, and they come out all different kind of ways. Because I had blocked rage. It wasn't even anger. I popped past anger a long time ago. So when I would explode, everything around me would come down.
I know.
I would bring everything down with me. You guys gonna keep messing with me? Watch this house fall down on everybody. It ain't gonna just fall on me no more. But then I realized I got resentment. And I was like, oh my God, the rage produced this resentment. I don't want to roll like that.
No, I agree. I think sometimes we don't realize how it comes across. I had so much anger that I was so short and curt with people. I would be like, I would just crush people at a certain point, and I didn't even know that I could do that. It was because of the blocked emotions. I wasn't connected to the other part that it was so easy for me to shut stuff down. I could just go in and
I didn't roll in the emotion. It was just like, it would be like a pressure cooker. You keep putting it in, not letting out the pressure. And then it was like all the steam had to come out at the same time and exploded on everybody. And I wasn't mean or curt or any of that kind of stuff. But the fallout was felt by everybody because I was in a position where I was actually having to hold everybody else up. So when I broke down, guess what? The whole machine stopped working. Honor our emotions would tell us getting dishonored by us getting sick.
Ooh, I like that.
Thank you. Bye.
What you said, Lois, it's so true. I think that there's another piece here. Many times other people are putting their stuff on you. It's not you. We have to learn to get familiar to the emotions within and connecting with that part. Because when we do, you can easily identify when it's yours and versus someone else's. And people love to put their stuff on you. They love it because they don't know how to manage their own stuff. So they like to just offload left, right, and center. So that's why the work is so important, to be able to go, what am I feeling here? Oh, I know when I'm having these waves and I know what this means. And then you start to shift and move into new space. Thank you, Lois. Always sending you love. Really appreciate that. Now I have A, and then I have Cicely, and then I have Wendy.
Hello.
Hi there.
It's the same way. I'm just being mindful of my digital footprint. So until I come up with a name,
No problem.
No, that it's interesting because then the previous speaker, that point resonated with me because there's this book that I started reading, The Body Keeps the Score.
Oh, it's such a good book. I've totally read this book.
I need to finish it. But I guess I think that goes in with what I've been feeling today. Because I just felt so low. I just felt like not necessarily a sadness, but not being able to connect to what exactly.
Is it a familiar low or is it a new one?
It's a familiar low. I've struggled with the depression and anxiety. So it's just like, I don't know yet if it's just going to be for today or if I'm just not feeling it today.
Is there things that, so I always say, there's a couple of things. It's funny. Anyways, do you have a plan for yourself when you're feeling low? What are things that you do to help offset that?
I wouldn't say that I have a formal plan or that I do anything particularly productive. I think everything is more distracting or escapist. No, but sometimes I do a lot of doom scrolling or bed rotting on the unhealthy end. The past week or so, I've had some energy and I started walking again. So that's been
excellent.
Something. I find this community helps because I need to vocalize or talk to get some stuff out, or I'll just find an activity, whether it's friends or working with kids or just something to clear my mind. But sometimes it's hard when you have to sit alone with the feeling, but you don't know the cause or the trigger. So it's almost like you can't fix it. You just have to sit with the discomfort.
I think that it becomes, sometimes you need some assistance to help you identify where, but there is a cause, right? Is sometimes many of us don't even know all our emotions that we're feeling. There's so many layers to emotions. So we can say, I feel sad, but we don't know how to dig in a little bit deeper as to what exactly the sadness is linked to. So, for example, I'm going to look at my book right now. This is literally from my book. This is the first time I've done it. So when we feel sad, it could be that maybe we feel abandoned, victimized, we feel powerless, empty, disappointed. We could feel hurt. We could feel depressed, vulnerable, lonely. Do you see what I'm saying? We break it into these simple little buckets, but they're so complex. So as we learn to identify who we are, we can understand on a deeper level, what does sadness mean for me? And that's what I would be. If you have a trigger, and that's usually as laser focus as to the breakdown of what is going on a little bit deeper. I always say it's a gift. It will tell you where you need to focus.
I'm not sure what the trigger is. I just know what coping mechanism or the feedback loop is. I think lately I've been dealing with using food to deal with my emotions.
A lot of people do that.
So I felt like the urge to, let me go get something to eat. Normally I'd like DoorDash it or something, but I decided to walk.
But that's good. Do you see how it's an internal struggle? You're walking to get something to eat. So what if you change the end result? Maybe you just continue the walk. Who knows? But the fact that you're walking is a high five moment. Like you should be pumped that you're doing that. That's so good. And I find that emotional eating, at least for myself, sometimes I'm feeling lonely. Sometimes I'm feeling bored. I don't know what to do to have that fill within. That food feels like a temporary fill. I would recommend that. To me is a root issue. Well, why am I feeling bored? And then I would explore, what's that mean? Or do I feel lonely? Can I fill those things? But the fact that you're walking, I think you need to reward yourself for that, because it's almost like, to me, there's a duality to it. Because if you were strictly emotionally eating, you would be sitting on the couch having a bag of chips right now. But you chose to walk. It's like a part of you is not having it. I'm still going to fight for this. And I think you need to honor that.
I don't know. I don't know. The walking and talking is helping, but
excellent.
I just don't know. Feeling is not passing. So I don't know if
but the
thing where you're so used to the feedback loop of the food as the reward, and that's why I'm still uneasy and that it will just pass, or if it's something else.
If I were to ask you the question as to what makes you happy or what brings you joy, can you give me an answer to that or no?
I'd have to ask you in what context.
Let's see. I think that's interesting. What if you create the context? Because there's no right or wrong. This is about you. And if it's blocked, that's fine. But can you answer that question?
I think that's the problem.
Me too.
Because for me right now in this moment, I don't know what would make me happy. I know that I know that I have hobbies and things that I enjoy, but I feel like in this state of mind, that's not going to help.
But do you think it's worth the explore just to ask yourself the questions?
That's fair.
So maybe as you're walking, maybe reflect on that. You don't have to act on it, but you can reflect on it, because I honestly think this is a part of what's going to set you free from the loop that you keep talking about.
I hear you.
So I want you to think about that today. Just think that maybe that's what you're going to work on today. And it doesn't have to be big and eventful. You can think about when you were younger. You can think about, I don't know, when you were in high school. You can think about today, things that brought you joy. And just leave it at that. And then you can explore more tomorrow on it.
Okay, sounds good.
And I would say this, you have this community, and if you need to walk and talk all the time, then come back and walk and talk. We got you, right? We have you. So I love the fact that you keep showing up for yourself. Again, that goes with the idea of, hey, I'm walking and I'm going to go get food. But the fact that you're walking is blowing my mind right now. She's fighting. There's something in here fighting it. She's not willing to just give up all the way. And I think that's fantastic. And now you have this community that you can bundle habits. You can walk and talk and bring all this greatness in. So keep coming back. I would explore that a little bit further. That joy emotion is going to tell you something, and I think it will help you get out of that loop. I will bring Cicely up. Thank you, Cicely, for waiting. Hey.
Boy, when I tell you, this has been one of those conversations.
Yeah, right?
Because just listening in, I'm like, whoa. Because one of the things that I struggle the hardest with is being vulnerable in emotion.
Me too.
And it's due to past, like being kicked in the teeth. And I have to tell myself, don't allow the past to taint the future experience, because you don't know what's coming. And then there's this deep sense of loss where you get a type of grief because you allowed certain things to go on for so long. And you're upset with nobody but yourself. And you have to start there and look like, hold on, what's here? But it's a sense of loss, because yes, greater might be coming, but it still hurts right now. And normally I would just throw that away and be like, all right, put it in the box, get over it, toughen up. You don't be crying about nothing. And I've really had to sit with it. Yes, that feels like a loss. Even if it's something that I knew wasn't good for me and I didn't want anymore, it still feels like a loss. And then you feel stupid. Well, actually, I feel stupid because why are you mourning things that you never wanted anyway? It's
So
like mourning
powerful.
because I realized most of my anxiety came from control. Other people attempting to control me and me attempting to control my scenario. And it just gave me crippling anxiety because I couldn't do anything because I was so worried about the control of others and what I should be doing and the control of self. And I'm trying to see if my path going to go the way I say it could go. Because if it doesn't go the way that I want it to go, I'm going to be disappointed. And I find myself lost a lot of times because I'm young. I don't know where I'm going. Like, I have no clue what's next. And I can't necessarily listen to everyone because I realize I've started to reflect back some people's deepest fears. And that's the creepiest thing because I didn't expect with the slowness and clarity of me that if I get still enough, other people see themselves too. I acknowledge that I see myself in other people, but I didn't know that they will start to see themselves in me. And
I think the people need to be advanced emotionally to understand that concept because you have to get out of the way of thinking it's all about me. When you can start reflect back and you can see in other people a reflection of yourself, that to me is a point of evolution. You've shifted into understanding a deeper level. Would you agree?
And it's weird because it's only weird because I can feel it and I feel myself and being perceived and getting attention was the bane of my existence for a long time because of prior experience. So now that it's coming to me in different forms, I don't necessarily know what to do with the emotion. So I've just been trying to feel it out and write it out and see where it's going because I didn't expect to get this far. And being that I'm at this point that is like Point Nemo out in the middle of the ocean where I'm the furthest from I'm the furthest from who I used to be and the furthest from who I'm going to become. And it feels isolating because I know I'm on a journey to becoming something else. I don't even have a choice in the matter because no matter how much I try to hide from purpose, it's finding me.
Right.
Because I ran so long, it's starting to find me. It's popping up on the radar. Hey, you're perfect. Let's go. And are you sure? Oh, do you need another proving point? Let me show you one more time.
It's so funny. It's so true.
Can you see yourself yet? You can't? I'm going to show you one more time. You still can't? Oh, I'm going to show you one more time. And I'm finally starting to get the lesson of my purpose is so much larger than me. And it's coming no matter how emotionally overwhelming it feels. And I am necessary and needed in this world.
Definitely. I think when you start to access that, like, why would I stop? So I just want to say thank you so much. The show is coming to a close. For those that have shared today, this is a part of the process. This is a part of you moving and shifting into new territory for yourself. Emotions is the language of the soul. It is a new language that you're learning, but it's all meant to show you something, to tap into something much greater. Don't forget to follow us on social media for updates and behind the scene contents. And if you have any suggestions about future topics or guests, we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, remember, stay curious, keep learning, and never stop exploring the fascinating world around you. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode.